Hey guys, we're looking at section 9.4.1. Our learning goal is that we want to be able to find the values of sine, cosine, and tangent. So we're going to be learning quite a few things here. So we want to be able to draw triangles and use the reference angles to find the trig values. Now, remember, when we were using SOHCAHTOA, we learned that sine is opposite over hypotenuse. But if I draw a picture from the origin out, that being our terminal side, and then I drop this down, we always go to the x-axis when we drop that perpendicular down. This is going to be the angle theta right here by the origin. This is the opposite, but it's also the y value. This is the adjacent, but it's also always going to be the x value. This is the hypotenuse, but it can also be thought of as the radius if there's a circle like that. Okay, so that would be the radius of that circle that triangle is contained in. So in terms of x, y, and r, we want to write the sine, cosine, and tangent. And we've done this before. The sine is opposite over hypotenuse, but now we're going to think of it as y over r. Well, the cosecant is just the reciprocal, so what's it? And cosine? Adjacent over hypotenuse, so x over r, and the secant is the reciprocal, right? And the tangent is the opposite over adjacent, so the y over x, and cotangent has to be x over y. This is the way I want to get yourselves thinking of this. I want you to start thinking of it in terms of x, y, and r, okay? Now, we also know that the ratio between the 45, 90s always goes x, x, x radical 2. But I don't want you to get the x here confused with the x here. So I changed it. I made it a radical 2. But I could also just divide all these sides by a and think of this as 1, 1 radical 2. This is where I'd like you to go with this. Anytime we have a 45, 90, we're going to think of it as 1, 1 radical 2 is our ratio. For a 30, 60, 90, it goes a radical 3, and 2a. But now we're going to think of it as just divide that by a is 1, divide that by a radical 3, divide that by a, and you get 2. So across from the 30 is the 1, across from the 60 is the radical 3, across from 90 is 2. All right, now we're going to find some values. Look at number 1. The sine of 150 degrees. Here's what we do. We think of which quadrant 150 degrees is in. Which quadrant is that going to be in? Second quadrant. What is the reference angle going to be? 30 degrees. That means how far away are we from the x-axis? And we're 30 degrees from 180. When we create the triangle, we do not go to the y-axis. We always drop to the x-axis. Always the x-axis. So now we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. But this is our reference angle theta, the one right next to the origin. Across from the 30 is 1. Across from the 60 is radical 3. Across from the 90 is 2. But we also have to think of the signs, whether it's positive or negative. The radius is always positive. But the x and y are going to tell us direction. So this 2 has to always be positive. But is this radical 3 for the x going in the positive or negative direction? What about the y value? Positive. So to find the sine of 150 degrees, we're going to do y over r. So the sine of 150 degrees should be 1/2. Get out your calculator. Check your mode and make sure that you're in degrees. Your mode needs to be in degrees because our angle's in degrees. Type in the sine of 150 and we get 0.5. That's 1/2. So we are correct. All right. Let's look at the next one now. The tangent of 300 degrees. Where's 300 going to go? Fourth quadrant. We go 90, 180, 270, 300 is going to go here. How far is it to get to 360? 60-degree reference. We label the sides. Across from the 30 is 1. Across from the 60 is radical 3. Across from the 90 is 2. X and Y, we have to check. Are they positive or negative? Well, the X is in the positive direction, but the Y is in the negative direction. So this should be a negative radical 3 there. Tangent is Y over X. So the exact tangent of 300 is Y over X. So it's just going to be negative radical 3. Check it. Type in the tangent of 300. Gives me that answer. Well, that's an approximation. The calculator can't give exact answers. So type in negative radical 3. Are they exactly the same? Yes, so we are correct. On your own, use the same angle we just drew because it's the same angle measure. And now find the cosine of 300. All right. Michael, what'd you get for the cosine of 300? It's x over r. Nope. This is x, this is y, this is r. 1/2. Did some of you get 1/2? Okay. All right, 315 degrees. We have to think which quadrant that's going to go to. Well, here's 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. So which quadrant is it going to go to? Quadrant 4. We always draw that triangle to go up to the x-axis. What's the reference angle? How far is it from 315 to 360? 45. So we know it has to go 1, 1, radical 2. Can the radical 2 be negative? Nope. Can any of either the x or the y be negative? Okay, what do you think then? Which one should be negative? The y should be negative. So we're going to do cotangent then is going to be x over y. So we're going to do 1 over negative 1. So what's it going to be? Negative 1, because it's x divided by y. Guys, if you wanted to check this cotangent, watch how I have to type this in. I have to do 1 divided by the tangent, because remember how it's the reciprocal? So I have to do 1 divided by the tangent of 315, and it's negative 1. So we're right. All right, focus right here, guys. This is a different type. Cosecant of 180. If I go to 180, here's 0, 90, 180 is right there. I can't draw a triangle if I'm at 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. So I have to use a circle Instead, I can choose anything I want for the radius of the circle. But what's probably the easiest number to use for our radius? 1. I'm going to call the radius 1. If the radius of this circle is 1, where is that point then? Careful, in the x, -1, comma, 0, right? -1, 0 is where that would be. This is 0, 0. The radius is 1, so it's -1, 0. Cosecant is r over y. So what's the radius of that circle? And what's the y value? It's 0, isn't it? So what do we call an answer of 1 over 0? Undefined. If I wanted to check this, I would have to do 1 divided by the sine of 180. And look what happens. You're attempting to divide by 0. The calculation fails. We have an error, undefined. Okay? All right. I don't want to do secant of 300 because we've done 300 several times. Change this angle. Let's do 210. All right, so 210. You know which quadrant? Third quadrant. How far past 180 are we? 30 degrees. Fill it in and find the secant. You guys get it? -2 radical 3 over 3. Great. Okay, what's the difference between all the ones we've done 1 through 6 and the ones in 7 through 9? Radians, okay? So this is a little tougher. We're going to have to think of this in degrees for now. So pi is 180. What's 180 divided by 6? 30. So I'm going to do 11 times 30. Do you know 11 times 30? 330. It's 330. You can get out a calculator if you need to. Which quadrant are we going to go to? Fourth. What's the reference angle? 30. 30. Is this going to be a positive or negative on the 30? That's a -1 there, guys, because it's going down in the y direction. Is the x going to be positive or negative? Positive. Is the r going to be positive or negative? Positive. It's always positive. To find the cosine of 11 pi over 6, I have to do x over r. So it's going to be radical 3 over 2. Guys, if you want to check this one, you got to change your mode. Is my mode in degrees right now? Yeah. Yes, so I need to change it to radians if I'm going to type in 11 pi over 6. So the cosine of 11 pi divided by 6 is this. Watch how this is the same thing as radical 3 divided by 2. See how they're exactly the same? They're exactly the same answer. The cosine of 11 pi over 6 is the same as radical 3 over 2. So we're correct. All right. What about 3 pi over 2? What's pi? 180 divided by 2 times 3. 270. Where's that going to go then? On the axis, isn't it? Right here. I have to create the circle. You guys finish that. Okay, then we're going to start this one and you're going to finish this one too. What's pi? 180 divided by 3 is, times 4 is 240. Which quadrant? Third. What's the reference? 60. So we're going to have a -1, a negative radical 3, and a 2. See if you can figure both of those out. Yep. All right, guys. So for this one, this point was going to be 0, -1. The radius was 1. You should have gotten -1 for this. Did you? It should be -1. The radius is 1. This point is over 0, down 1. Sine is y over r. That's how. On this one, cosecant is r over y. So we have to do 2 over our y value. So on this one, you should have gotten -2 radical 3 over 3. Did you get at least one of those two correct? Anybody get both of them correct? Nobody? Why not? What? What's confusing? The first one? Yeah. You see now why it would be that? Sine is y over r is what sine is. Y over r. The y value is -1. The r value is +1. -1 divided by +1 is -1. Okay, let's go down here. To solve this, I have to subtract 1 from both sides. I get tan theta equals -1. I am told what the answer is. I'm trying to figure out what the angle is here, guys, between 0 and 360. What is the angle that's going to make this work? So we know tangent is y over x. If there's no number under here, it's automatically a 1. Which quadrant would the point 1, -1 go into? Over 1, down 1, quadrant 4. So we're going to have y is -1, x is +1. What is the angle theta that has that 1, 1? 45 degrees. But if we're in that quadrant, it's going to start here and go around like that. So it's going to be 360 minus 45. So what's it going to be? 315. Now, here's the deal though. You should get 2 answers on all of these. 2 answers. So there's somewhere else this angle could be, and we could still get tangent to be -1. That's because y could be +1 and x could be -1. Which quadrant would that go in? Second quadrant. So we could have it so that y is +1 and x is -1. That would still be -1 there. So we'd have 45-degree reference, and now we're going from here to here. So we would have to do 180 minus 45. What's 180 minus 40 and then minus 5 more? 135. So that's that angle. Let's actually do number 12 next. It's a little easier than number 11. On number 12, we're going to subtract 3. We have 6 sine theta equals negative 3. Divide by 6. Sine theta is negative 1/2. What's sine the same as? What over what?
1.
Mm-hmm. Is r allowed to be negative? No. So which two quadrants would have y negative? 3 and 4. Good work. So we could have y is negative 1, r is 2. Or we could be over here. Always to the x-axis. Never like that, guys. Do not draw those to the y-axis. Negative 1 and 2. Which of those triangles has the numbers 1 and 2 in it? Is it this, the 45 or the 30/60? 30/60. So across from the 1 is the 30. So you guys figure out what this angle is and also what that angle is. We have to get 2 answers. All right, you should have it. What is it? 180 plus 30 was what? 210. And then we had to do 360 minus 30. What was that? 330. All right, now back to this one. Do we have cosine is x over r? Do we have a triangle that has a radical 2 and a 2 in it? So we have to think, what was this before it got rationalized? Do you guys know another name for radical 2 over 2 before it got rationalized?
1 over 1 over 1.
Good job. 1 over radical 2. The r cannot be negative, so it has to be that the x is negative. Which two quadrants have x negative? Good job. So we know x is negative 1, r is radical 2. What's the triangle that goes 1, 1, radical 2? 45. So this is 45 and this is 45. Can you guys figure out what that angle is and what that angle is? Because there's 2 places it's going to work. X is negative in quadrant 2 and quadrant 3. You got the 2 answers? We had to do 180 minus 45, 135, and then we have to do 180 plus 40 and plus 5. Good. All right, guys. So on your worksheet I gave you, you need to do the odds plus number 28. Number 28, you're actually going to get 4 answers. Okay? Everything else, you're just going to get 2 on that type, but 28 is going to have 4.
I go to the restroom.
Yeah.